lost 43 pounds while I was in the hospital. And then when I got out, I weighed 206. Now I'm about 224 and got to go ahead and start working out. And, I'm not normal. I've got another surgery ahead of me, probably not until next July. But I'm almost glad we put that off for a while. I've had enough of ICU. So otherwise, I'm doing great. I couldn't be happier.
Sure. I mean, so many thoughts and prayers your way. It's great news you'll get to start working out, and we'll continue to think about you here as we continue on. And let's get to the film, because in the film, you talk about your drinking habits. It blew me away. 10 beers, 5 vodka mixed drinks every day for more than 20 years. What's your lifestyle like now, Rick?
Well, now it's Netflix. I've only been out since I got out. I had to go from the hospital to a rehabilitation. I had to learn how to walk again. I was so weak that I couldn't twist the bottle top off a bottle of Gatorade. So I spent 20 days in a physical rehab place, learning how to walk again and everything. I mean, I could stand up, but I had no balance. It was really, it was a different thing for me to wake up like that. I've always had control, of my instincts, or like control of my body. I'm the kind of guy that I hate getting Novocaine. I hate not being able to feel things. I can't take pain pills because they give me anxiety. So, I'm just one of these guys that I like to be in control of myself, and I wasn't for the first time in my life. So, and I lost 2 weeks of even knowing who came to see me, and my lovely fiance, who basically, she got what's called ICU psychosis. She stayed in the room with me for 11 consecutive days, never left my side in ICU, even when I was in a coma. So she took care of me, and she takes care of me now like nobody else could.
A powerful story there, Rick.
Very fortunate.
Yes, you've been through so much. And now here you are to the day in the main event, as they say in wrestling. The new 30 for 30 debuting tonight on ESPN, Nature Boy. Rick, what were your first thoughts when approached about doing a film on your life and your career?
Well, I was honored. I don't know if you know how it came about. I did a cameo on the Christian Laettner film that Rory directed as well. And then I think ESPN saw the cameo and, without precisely remembering the chain of events, but next thing I knew, they contacted me, and I said, yeah, because I was sure that they would choose. I knew eventually they would get to a wrestler, because wrestling is so mainstream now and it's so much more widely accepted. But when ESPN is covering wrestling, that increases our legitimacy 100%. And you guys got involved pretty heavily a couple of years ago. I think a lot of that was Brock Lesnar, and then of course Jonathan Coachman helped, and then you guys. But I mean, I could even tell, Lisa, when you interviewed my daughter, that you knew what was going on, and that means the world to us in terms of respect for what we do for a living.
Charlotte, Ashley, better known in the WWE world as Charlotte, we had a fantastic conversation, and I told her in the film, you say your proudest moment of your career was when she won that title, and she was very emotional about it. How did, I know you were watching, how were you feeling at home when you saw her talking about you?
I was crying.
Why?
I was so happy for her. Because she overcame so much with the, as my whole family did with the death of her brother. She hadn't even thought about wrestling until 2012, and of course he passed in 2013. So it was incredibly hard for the whole family, but they argued like cats and dogs every day of their life, but they were extremely close, and it destroyed all of us. But for her, it was like, she was carrying on something that he wanted to be more than anything in the world, and that was a professional wrestler. And that's a motivating fact, and the reason, in my opinion, that's where she is today. It's not because of me pushing her. She just wanted to be, she wanted to make him proud.
Rick, how did Reed's death change your life?
You'll make me cry again. What?
I know he meant so much to you, and he was following in your footsteps, and you can talk about it in the film, but how did his death change your life?
Well, I'm not sure I've accepted it yet, but it just made my life. The thing that nobody understands is that we say like he died on my watch. Remember, he was with me, and we were watching the NCAA tournament. I can remember like it was yesterday. He wasn't drinking anything. He went back to his room, and I went back, which is all discussed in the documentary tonight. And of course, I've seen him 1,000 times. He was messed up, but I've seen him like that. And I had do I call the police again? This will be the 8th or 9th time they've been over, or 911. I mean, when an ambulance comes, so come the police. So I said, no, I'm just going to tuck him in bed and wake up in the morning and try and figure out what went wrong again, which I've done, which I had been doing for 5 years. And so I woke up and he was purple, which I've seen before. And we called the hospital, called 911, and they came, and they always ask you to leave the room for a minute. And I went out in the hall, just assuming they'd come out and say, either we have to helicopter him, which we've done before, to a bigger facility, or we need to take him in an ambulance for sure. And he came out and said he didn't make it, Rick. That was tough. He didn't make it, Rick. We're all on a first name basis by this time because we've been there before, and to this day, at least, after being on life support, which he was 4 different times, I don't know how it could ever go back to it, but it's more powerful than I could ever be able to figure it out. So, and every place that I sent him to, every facility, they would say to me, you need to let him bottom out. You need to just shut the door, lock it, let him bottom out. But I just couldn't fathom finding him somewhere in an alley. It was bad enough when his mom and I couldn't find him for 5 days. It was, which sometimes was the case. The cell phone didn't work. Where is he? You can't find him. And all of a sudden, 5 days later, you've hired a private eye, you've done everything you can, and he'll show up. And it's just, it's a very, very difficult experience in life for anybody, and I can sympathize with anybody that's had, really sympathize with anybody that's had that kind of circumstance to live under or live with.
Rick, I can't imagine any greater pain than a parent losing a child, and then now you have Ashley carrying that torch for him. You do talk about it a lot in the film. What do you hope people will take away from your story in this film?
Well, I hope that they appreciate the work ethic and the time that I put into being successful. I wouldn't want anybody to live the life I led. Basically, Lisa, which it's not, my life's an open book anyway, but if I said it, I was doing it. I certainly wouldn't advocate that now. Social media has changed all that around, but I just had a good time. I mean, I didn't look at wrestling as being work. I looked at it as being something I wanted to do. And, when I had a day off, if a promoter wanted me, I went. And I regret that. I should have gone home for the day. But it was a life I led. And being the world champion meant the world to me. It was a huge honor. And I ran with it. And I regret not taking the time I could have, just to visit especially my older kids. But it's the way I lived, and I'm not proud of that now, and it clearly reflects on that, and then it reflects on the sadness and the passing and the lack of responsibility that I am forced to live with over my son.
In the film, Rick, you do say, all I wanted to be was Ric Flair. Who is Ric Flair to you?
Well, Ric Flair, Ric Flair has finally learned, that's Wendy has really grounded me a lot. I love being Ric Flair. I'm not lying to you. I loved it then, and you know, it's notoriety and fame, and I don't mean to make it an abusive thing where you demand to be in line in a restaurant or go to the head of the line. I'm just saying having people say hi, woo in the parking lot, seeing other athletes and athletic teams, use sayings that I created in the 80s. I mean, that's a very rewarding, and it's nothing I take for granted, to have Snoop Dogg, who paid me a great tribute, say that, and he always tells me I was bling before bling was bling. So, but I didn't foresee that when I was doing that. I was just off the top of my head. So, I'm just thankful that all these people look at me, and I hope that they don't walk away feeling bad for me, which sometimes is the direction they want films to go, because I'm in a great place now, and I'm very happy, and Wendy treats me great. My illness brought my family together closer than they've been in 10 years, so they were all there with me for all 10 days. I didn't know that I had a 20% chance to live. Nobody told me that. But all the kids went in to say goodbye to me, as the doctor told them to do, and then somehow I made it. And I woke up, and Wendy recreated the 2 weeks that I didn't remember, because I just dreamt. It's funny, at least I just dreamt. I dreamt my daughter got married. I dreamt, that Wendy had $300,000 saved for me as a present. I'm not sure she didn't. She probably hid it on me, but I just dreamt good things. I dreamt about my mom and dad. I didn't have any demons. I wonder when people go to heaven or wherever they end up, if that's, what goes on, because I didn't dream anything bad. I don't think I struggled with that. I had ultimate issues. I guess I had the DTs real bad, but I wasn't awake for that. I know that they had me strapped down like you see in the movies. And I tried to bribe one of the guys. I said, I've got $500 to let me take these things off my wrists. He said to me, you haven't got your wallet on you. I said, you know who you're talking to? He said, yes, Mr. Flair, I do, but I'm not letting you up. So
Ric,
I couldn't buy my way that time either. I'd have given him my Rolex watch if I'd had it.
Well, really, Ric, you truly were bling before bling was bling, no doubt about it. The film is incredibly raw, incredibly impactful. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Two-time WWE
Thank
Hall
you
of
for all the
Famer.
respect, and thank you very much. I enjoy watching you guys on TV every day. Thank you.
Ric Flair with us on SportsCenter. Thanks so much for the time. Congratulations on all of it. Woo! Nature Boy tonight, 10 Eastern. We'll premiere our next ESPN 30 for 30 film titled Nature Boy. It's the life story of that man right there. Wrestling legend, two-time Hall of Famer Ric Flair. It's tonight on ESPN and streaming live on the ESPN app.